Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the summary video to my recent 7.5-day extended fast. During this video, I will share some in progress video. I will give you the results of this fast, I'll talk about lessons learned, and I will address some frequently asked questions, comments, concerns, with the help of a friend or two. If you didn't watch the kickoff video to this fast, I'll link to that up there. I will also put it in the end card and in the video description. Additionally, over on my other channel, Lean Body Mind, I did at least 2, possibly 3 live streams during the course of the fast where I talked about how things were going, and there was a lot of just sort of ask me anything that went on over there. I'll link to that down in the description as well. And with that, let's go ahead and kick this video off.
Why would you starve yourself? It's silly. Gun show.
One of the things that I've noticed in the comments to my videos are from the people who aren't familiar with fasting, who feel that it is in some way starving yourself. Fasting is not starving yourself. Your body has plenty of capacity to feed itself, especially if you've still got, little fat stores going on. Now, if you're new to fasting, there are some sort of mental or psychological hurdles you need to get over, especially if you come from the standard American diet and the typical 3 meals a day sort of thing, or worse, constant grazing. Getting into the notion of not requiring food is truly more of a mental thing than a physical thing. And I recommend if you're going to do an extended fast, you gradually ramp your way up, starting with like intermittent fasting, then 1 meal a day, then maybe try a 48 or a 36-hour fast, but gradually ramp yourself up. And what you will find, at least what I have found in my extended fasts, is it's somewhere generally between hour 40 and hour 48, I quit caring about food. In fact, it's the opposite of feeling like you're hungry or starving. It almost feels like a superpower. I'm not reliant upon food anymore. And my energy level starts to peak up. It's a great feeling. And in fact, I'll show you a clip right now from hour 44. It's Sunday afternoon. I think I'm probably at about hour 44 of the fast. And I'm not hungry, but I've got cravings. And I've mentioned this before. I've always been a boredom eater and a boredom drinker. And that's what I think I'm going through right now. I do feel a little bit low on energy. My early morning walk today, I got out and at about a half a mile, I was ready to turn around and go home. I still managed to knock out about 5 miles, and I'm glad I did. Sometimes, the habit isn't the habit. The habit isn't going for the walk. The habit is just getting a block away from your house, because then you keep going. So that's a little learning. Sorry, I bumped the camera there. What else? The other learning is I feel like even though I'm getting a lot accomplished on my daily to-do lists, I'm getting it all accomplished. And that's probably a bad thing in terms of the boredom. I need to put together a more aggressive list for tomorrow and the day after and the day after for what I need to get accomplished, because I kind of feel like once I'm done with the list, I don't want to add more to that day's list. I'm kind of like, I'm done, ready to call it, ready to eat. But I'm not gonna. I think probably what I'm gonna do, just because I've done everything I set out to do today. I don't want to try filming another video. I got to film the intro and outro to a cooking video for Friday. But I'm not in the mood to do the whole camera and lighting setup in the kitchen. So I may just take a nap, honestly. Take a little nap, get up, read a book, play some Xbox or something. I'm not sure. But definitely tomorrow, need a bigger to-do list.
Bro, it's calories in, calories out. It's not that difficult.
The whole calories in, calories out argument is commonly made by people, especially I think outside of the keto community. First off, a calorie is not a calorie. I mean, a calorie of Oreos and a calorie of steak are 2 different things. But I don't want to get into the keto argument. There is certainly truth to calories in, calories out, but that's just part of the equation. And when it comes to fasting, if you're fasting to lose weight, which I wasn't in this particular instance, I'll talk about why I was in just a moment, but fasting to lose weight is far more effective than calorie restriction. Calorie restriction is what starving feels like. Calorie restriction keeps your body from utilizing the fuel that it has, unless you completely restrict calories down to zero. If it were as simple as just calorie reduction, then we would not have the obesity problem that we have here in the United States. And if you watch the interview that I did with Joe and Rachel from Two Crazy Ketos, Rachel talks about how miserable she was and the weight gain she had while doing calorie restriction. So if you haven't watched that, that's worth checking out. But like I said a second ago, my goal with this fast wasn't so much to lose weight as it was first to have just sort of a body reset. A fast gives your body a chance to rest, especially your gut biome. And I think some of the product testing that I've done, especially that mega tortilla review that I did, or tortilla mega review, I think that had an impact on my gut biome. TMI warning, the way I could tell, my bowel movements, it wasn't a great thing. When I get to the summary, I'll talk about some of the benefits that I've seen physiologically, but the other reason I also wanted to do this fast was for the sake of autophagy, which I described in the kickoff video. It's basically the body consuming itself. Autophagy means self-eating, I believe, in Greek, but it is the body's healthy cells consuming the less healthy cells, and hopefully that results in better looking skin, tighter skin, especially down here. I've got a lot of excess left from the weight that I lost a couple of years ago. That was really my goal for this fast. Now, over the course of the week, I did a lot of data tracking, all kinds of biometric tracking, which I'll show a little bit later, but I also really wanted to dial in my electrolytes. I'm a big believer in electrolytes, just in how they help your body function. Especially for me, the issue is cramping. I have lots of issues with muscle cramps if I'm not getting the right amount of electrolytes. And when I initially studied up on how much electrolytes should I consume for this fast, the information was really kind of all over the place, including one website that sells an electrolyte drink that was recommending amounts in excess of double what the recommended daily allowance are for things like sodium. So let me pull this up for a second here. As I looked day to day and I tracked how I felt, a couple of things really stood out. Let's see, how many days were there that I felt? So on 3 different days, I noticed that I was having some foot cramps. Not really severe, but noticeable, and usually around bedtime. On all 3 of those days, my magnesium intake was below 400 grams. So once I got up over 400 grams, no cramps. So lesson number 1. Additionally, the first 5 days I was having, TMI alert, a lot of diarrhea. And forceful. I'll just leave it at that. There were a lot of trips to the bathroom. It was as if I had taken a colon cleanse of some sort. And not a big surprise, I guess, given the amount of potassium and sodium I was taking in. Again, I was only getting in about half as much as this one website recommended, but still, I was making frequent trips to the bathroom. Once I decreased my sodium and potassium to more realistic levels, so I got sodium down under 800, potassium down under 700 to 800, suddenly didn't have these trips to the bathroom anymore. And I actually started feeling a lot better. I had been feeling, sort of weak, sort of dizzy. I started feeling better with less electrolytes. I really wish that I would have figured this out quicker, but that's okay. I'm armed with this knowledge so that the next time I do a fast, I can have my electrolytes dialed in a lot more quickly. Anyhow, I discovered this around day 5, and here's my day 6 update. It is Thursday morning. I'm probably at about hour 131 of the fast. My goal was to hit 5 days, and I hit that last night. My stretch goal is to hit a week. I don't know that I'm going to get there. I'm gassed. This morning walk is, I've been doing 5 miles. I think today is probably going to be about half of that. I'm physically worn out. I'm still mentally alert. And interestingly, and I don't know if this is something that's sort of built into our genetics, but my vision has gotten noticeably better. And maybe this is, like I said, part of genetics, because if as a species or a creature we're hungry, doesn't it make sense that we should be able to better like see the berries or the animals or whatever that we plan on eating, you know, out in the wild? And you know, those that can are going to survive. So that's just a hypothesis. Don't know if it's true. The other strange thing that's going on is yesterday I started developing a runny nostril. Just one, just the right nostril, and it's not thick like snot. It's more like if you've used a neti pot and you know, you thought everything was drained and then a couple hours later just a stream comes out. It's like that. So I'm curious to know why that is, why it's only happening on one side, and you know, the texture of it also very much like saline. You know, I don't know if it's something to do with all the electrolytes that I'm taking, but that might be worth some research. Anyhow, going on today, I've got some errands to take care of this morning, including a haircut, and then this afternoon I'm doing a live stream, a kitchen live stream that you know, for my channel members. And I don't see breaking the fast prior to that. So the question is, do I break it at, you know, like 4 p.m. or do I wait until 7:30, something like that, which would put me at a full 6 days? I don't know, but I'm pretty confident today's the final day. So shortly after doing that video update, I did a kitchen live stream. This is something, it's a perk that I do for my top 2 tiers of channel members. And one of my viewers or subscribers, Keenan, has had extensive experience with fasting, and he's learned a lot from his own results. First, trying out things that the various YouTube doctors have recommended that he try out. Electrolyte levels, do this, do that. This is how you should break a fast. This is how you shouldn't. And I believe he told me he's done 4 fasts of 30 days or longer, and really feels that he had gotten things dialed in. When I had my conversation with him, we talked about electrolytes, and it confirmed exactly what I had seen with mine. So that was great. He also gave me some great advice on how to break a fast, which I'll talk about when we get to that point. But first, here's another in-progress update from day 7. It's day 7. I'm out for my morning walk. Got out about 5:30 this morning. And well, let me give you a little update. Yesterday, as I was on my walk, I was not feeling it. I was ready to stop the fast. But later on in the morning, I started getting some energy, and I took a blood glucose and ketone reading, and interestingly, my glucose had gone up from 60 to 66, and my ketones had gone down from 6.0 to 5.2. I'm assuming what's going on is gluconeogenesis, so my body is manufacturing its own glucose to give me energy. And the rest of the day was just great. I feel, and I still feel, really awesome. I think that powering through the rest of today, so hitting 7 days, and maybe even going to tomorrow morning to make it a full 160 hours, a nice round number, I'm probably going to do that. Also, interestingly, yesterday, I had mentioned that it seemed like my distance vision was improving. I think my sense of smell also is improving. I was out in my yard yesterday mowing the lawn, and I was quite certain I was smelling ripe strawberries, which is odd because we're well past strawberry season. But I walked over to my little strawberry patch, and sure enough, there was a great big luscious ripe strawberry. I don't think boy, I can't even speak. I'm so excited about this story. Unfortunately, since I'm on a fast, I couldn't eat it, but I gave it to my grandson, who was just thrilled. But anyhow, that's the update for this morning. Time to continue my walk. By the morning of day 8, I was really feeling like I could probably extend this. I felt I could hit 10 days pretty easily, but mentally I was prepared to kind of be done with this fast, and then it gives me a target for the next one of 10 days. But feeling that I had accomplished my goals, I decided that it was time for the final weigh-in. All right, it is 6 in the morning on day 8. I'll be breaking my fast in about 2 hours between now and then. I'm gonna go out for my morning walk. But first, this is this is me now, 8 days later. Started off at 168.6 pounds, I believe it was. If we zoom in down here, you know, autophagy is the main reason I wanted to do this. I wanted to get rid of this just extra skin that I've got down here. This is what kind of annoys me, this little, like, dip-de-doo right there. You know, you tend to see that in a lot of people that have lost weight. As a high schooler, probably my favorite bodybuilder was Frank Zane, and he could do a vacuum stomach that was pretty amazing. And I'm going to show you mine now after this fast. So, you ready for this? I don't know what this little lump here is in my rib. It's like a slightly different bone there. Anyhow, now the moment of truth. I'm going to step on the scale. I'm going to take off my underwear for that. So that will not be on camera, but I want to be consistent with all of my other weigh-ins. Be back in a second. Well, actually, I'm just going to set the phone down and I'll just do a little edit. All right, 156.2. And even though I didn't do this fast for the purpose of losing weight, it is pretty cool seeing me weigh that little. It's been a long time. I'll have to look at my spreadsheet. I track my weight every day, ketones, blood glucose, everything. So I'm gonna have to see how many days has it been since I've been that light. It'll also be interesting to see once I start my refeed how all of my biometrics change. You know, I know I'm going to put back some weight, but I'll be really curious to see in terms of body composition what that is. But now I'm going to get dressed, I'm going to go out for my walk, and then I'm going to come back home and break this fast with a little homemade chicken broth. After I got showered and cleaned up, I broke the fast with some homemade bone broth. Oh boy, it's been 160 hours since I have consumed a calorie, and now I'm getting ready to break my fast. There are a lot of YouTube experts on fasting. For some of those, I feel like maybe I should be using the air quotes. The thing is, they all have very different and strong opinions about how to fast and the right way to break a fast. And they're different, all of their opinions, it seems like. The one thing that's been consistent through all of them is start with small meals, very small, and make them easy on your system. So to that end, I'm going to break my fast with some homemade bone broth, chicken broth that I made. I put it in a Pyrex container so you can see it. I roasted the bone so it's a little darker. And it's pretty cloudy because it is just full of collagen. When I first put this into the pot, it was about as thick as Kentucky Fried Chicken gravy. But I'm not going to drink it out of the Pyrex measuring cup here. I mean, I wasn't born in a barn, so I'll put it in my mug. Ooh, that's pretty steamy. Here we go. When you haven't eaten anything in over a week, I don't know if this truly tastes amazing, but it sure does right now. Historically, on my extended fasts, I have found that I had a lot of diarrhea the first 2 days. Oops, TMI again. But this time I followed the advice from Keenan, who I'd mentioned earlier. And he basically said, for 2 days, no carbs. The rules are no carbs, small meals. First day especially, small meals. So I had the bone broth at 8 a.m. At 10:30 a.m. I had bone broth and a hard-boiled egg. At 1 p.m., bone broth, another hard-boiled egg, a slice of cheese. 4 p.m., bone broth, another egg, a slice of cheese. 6:45 p.m., bone broth. I made some egg salad with homemade mayonnaise and 2 hard-boiled eggs, a little yellow mustard, and I had some carnivore crisps, chicken breast, that I used to scoop it up. Day 2, 10:30 a.m. was my first meal. I had 1/2 serving of keto chow. At 11:45, I had the other half serving of keto chow. 2:30 p.m., I had the egg salad, the carnivore crisps, a little Baby Bell cheese, and a mozzarella stick. 5:30 p.m., I had a cheeseburger, no bun or ketchup or anything like that, 2 slices of cheese, 3 slices of bacon, an egg, that's a fried egg, mayo, and 1 slice of tomato. I gave myself that one little carb at the end. Stomach function, gut, everything just fine. Nothing was getting gurgly on me, didn't have any diarrhea. Overall, it is the best fast breaking that I have ever had. So I will definitely be sticking with that methodology going forward. Over the course of this past week, then I continued to refeed just as normal, and I put back on 4.5 pounds, but I'm still down 7.9 pounds.
Clearly, it's just water weight, Steve. Just like me.
Whenever anyone says it's just water weight, that cracks me up. The anti-keto people say that an awful lot, so I guess at some point I lost 75 pounds of water weight. However, I would say on this fast, it just wasn't the case. Let me pull up my spreadsheet here. The first day of the fast, my water percentage, based on my Withings scale, was 51.4%. And what you can see is it steadily climbed over the course of my fast, getting up to about 53.5%, and it has remained relatively stable there since, even though I was refeeding. So, water weight? Meh, I don't think so.
Don't you know fasting just cannibalizes muscle tissue?
The other argument that some people make about fasting is that it cannibalizes muscle mass. Again, my data proves at least 75% otherwise. So if we look at the total pounds lost, initially I lost 12.4 pounds over the course of 7.5 days. Of that, 7.4 pounds roughly was fat and 4.7 pounds were muscle. But what's interesting is what happened during the refeed. During the refeed, the majority of what I gained back was muscle. So after my refeed and gaining a few pounds back, I was down almost 6 pounds of total fat and just over 1.5 pounds of muscle. So if there were a way to lose weight where 75% of what you lost is fat and 25% is muscle, I think most of us would sign up for that. So if you're a visual person, here you can see my weight graph as it goes down gradually from Saturday to Saturday, and then it comes back up a little bit with my refeed. Body fat trends right down along with the weight loss. Now there's this weird little peak on Wednesday that you see in body fat, and if we go over to muscle, where we see gradually over the course of the fast my muscle mass increasing as a percentage, you also see that little blip on Wednesday. So something weird I think happened with my scale on that Wednesday where body fat seemed to take a jump and muscle mass dropped. But the overall picture of this is there was weight loss, there was body fat loss, there was muscle gain as a percentage of overall body weight, and then while refeeding, pretty consistent. So any sort of an argument that you're going to have this big rebound after fasting and be right back to where you were certainly did not seem to be the case for me. Additionally, I lost almost 2 inches off of my waist, and that is after refeeding. So I went from 37 inches, I believe, to just over 35 inches measured at the navel. And I repeat, that was after a week of refeeding. In terms of other biometrics that I measured, sleep, I was surprised, was fairly good. Now, normally I take the Beauty Plus Sleep Collagen, but I didn't because that's got some calories and some carbs in it. And instead I bought, I think it's Sleepy Time Extra tea, and I was drinking that. Plus I was making sure to get sufficient amounts of magnesium before bed. So I think that helped with the sleep. Another interesting observation is, and I've seen this on all of my fasts, around days 2 through 4, my blood pressure goes up. And I believe Dr. Jason Fung talked about this in one of his books, which is the body senses that it's in distress because there's no food. And as a result, your blood pressure goes up. But then your body gets past that and gets into autophagy and things are fine. which is what I experienced as well. In fact, my blood pressure has gone down rather pleasantly to the point that I've cut my dose of lisinopril in half. Even on my refeeding week, it has not gone back up. So my blood pressure has been hanging out kind of anywhere between 107/67 to, at the highest, 117/83. And that is on a half a tablet of lisinopril. I could be off of blood pressure medication here very soon, which would be awesome because it would be the first time in 25 years or more. Additionally, I feel that my gut biome has had a nice opportunity to heal. My bowel movements are back to where they ought to be, and that to me I think is one of the best signs. I mean, I haven't had gas, I haven't had any sort of gurgling in my stomach, and the BM's looking good. So on the whole, this extended fast has really been a great experience for me, and I look forward to doing another one in Q4. Probably October or November, and I'm going to shoot for 10 days. Based on the experience that I've had this last fast, I think one or two more fasts of this length could be exactly what I need to get my body composition where I want it to be. So I'm excited about that, and when I get around to doing that next one, I'll make sure to give everybody ample warning, so if you want to join in, you can. Before I wrap this up, I need to give two quick thank yous. One is to Keenan, my channel subscriber, who shared his fasting experience with me, and a super big thank you to Dennis from Black Tie Kitchen, who was kind enough to provide those little character cameos for me. If you have not checked out Dennis's cooking channel, Black Tie Kitchen, I highly encourage it. He has a lot of fun with his videos. I will link to it down in the description below. I just want to close by saying that these results are mine and mine alone. Don't interpret what I have experienced as being the right thing necessarily for you. I'm not a doctor, I'm not any sort of medical professional, I am not qualified to give medical advice, so do not look at this video as medical advice. But if you did find it helpful, please click that like button. If you're not a subscriber already, tap that subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell to turn on all notifications. And if you decide to come along with me on the next fast, I look forward to it. Thanks for watching.